I'm a big gamer, and one part of gaming that I really love is handheld gaming. Something that I always do, I grew up doing, and that was like my particular way to game as a child, and it's still my preferred way of gaming to this day, actually. And so we all know about the Switch, and there's been some rumors out there about the Switch, and there have been some rumors out there about the Switch Pro. Let's look through those rumors and see what we could pick through, and I could give my thoughts on what may happen to the Switch in the near future. Play that intro, please. Alright, so the Nintendo Switch, and wow. It's been like, the Switch came out my sophomore year of college. I'm 2 years removed from graduation about this point, or about to be. So, doing some backtracking, junior, senior, graduation. It's been 4 years. 4 years, I think it's officially been 4 years since the Switch first came out. It came out around March, I believe. And I remember that day really is strong in my memory, because that was the only time in my life, in my adult life, my childhood life, that I ever stood outside and waited for a video game console. That I woke up around 5 a.m., drove to Target because my Amazon order had got delayed, and I was like, no way, I'm getting the Switch on launch. So I went to Target, still in line. There was about like maybe 12 people in front of me. I was in a good position. They had more than enough Switches, and it was just super exciting that day. Everyone was in line. We was all chatting. People I don't even know. It was cold. My girlfriend made me some hot chocolate. We stood out there. Everybody was like so giddy, getting ready for the Switch. It was just one of those beautiful moments in gaming history. And the way with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X launch, it wasn't that big to stay out to camp outside because pandemic reasons. So those launches were really different. That's where the Switch launch really holds near and dear to me, because that was my first time ever doing that. Alright, so enough of me reminiscing about sad old times, or fun times actually. Let's go jump into these big rumors for the Switch Pro. So the big notes we had to hit on is the hardware part. So what they're saying in the Bloomberg report is that the Switch Pro, or maybe some places even calling it the Switch, the Super Switch, being based off, was it Super Switch? I don't know. Anyway, so the reports are saying about the Switch Pro is that it's gonna have a Samsung OLED 7-inch screen, but it is gonna be a 720p. It said that with dock, this should be playing 4K gaming at dock, and it will have support for NVIDIA's new DLSS technology, where it should upscale game the pixels even more because of the super sampling technology that they got going on over there. And those are the main things, along with the bigger screen, the OLED, and the 4K gaming. That sounds, in my opinion, sounds magnificent. Especially with the new NVIDIA Tegra chip that I believe they're gonna put in it. I think it's gonna be chef's kiss of a pro console. Now, based on that report, my personal opinion is, for the most part, as I said, it sounds chef's kiss, but at the same time, it does not. And there's one particular reason why. If this does come to fruition, I'm a little iffy on, and it's the 720p screen. Yes, gaming in handheld, 720p is not a big deal, especially if it's handheld mode. But the way I see it is that this should at least hit 1080p, because you have cell phones, even like the most budget cell phone runs at 1080p. And yes, it might not use OLED screens, but OLED screens are cheaper to produce, and I think at 720p it just offers gamers a better resolution. If you're gonna pay for a Switch Pro, we want to get the best of the best. We don't want to settle for 720p when the standard is 1080p or even 2K at this point, or 4K. And it's like, if you're going for an upgrade model, you might as well go all the way out, or you don't do it at all. The 4K gaming is cool, but 4K gaming in itself is just almost hit and miss these days, because we're just entering this phase of true 4K gaming, because last generation was mainly 1080p. You had Xbox One X and you had the PS4 Pro that have some type of 4K gaming, but this is going to be our first true 4K gaming in next generation. But you gotta be clear here, it's kind of obvious that most of those big third-party games are still not going to run the Switch Pro no matter what. Why? Because the PS5 and the Xbox Series X is just years ahead, and where Nintendo's at right now is like, this is more fun into like maybe a PS4 Pro type of mid-range kind of device. And you know, when it comes to Nintendo's first party games, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna run smooth. Nintendo know what they're doing. Hopefully, Pokemon Legends look. I know it's early footage and it might be running on regular Switch, but hopefully the Switch Pro makes that game look beautiful. But Nintendo know what they're doing for the most part. Third-party games is where this concerns me a lot. And the reason I say this concerns me is because we've seen in the past when Nintendo has done minor upgrades for their consoles. They brought out the 3DS XL, the Super 3DS XL, right? And they promised exclusive games are gonna be running on that system only. And most of the games that came out were stuff that was from Nintendo, and not really much from third party outside of that, maybe that Monster Hunter game that came out. Nintendo has a past of not supporting their upgraded consoles because most of the user base is already on the base model. So all the games are gonna be tailored towards that base model because that's where all the users are. So calling this a Switch Pro might create that same trouble that I fear for Nintendo and fear for those third-party games coming in. It might just not run good because if the install base is very small, they're gonna just make the games for the base model, and it's whatever small improvements they have for the Pro model will be there, or they just won't make games at all. And that is something that I'm afraid of because I had a DSi and there was no games for DSi that was even warrant buying that thing. I had 3DS new 3DS XL. There was no reason for me to buy it because the only game that I had on there that was made for it was either Xenoblades or that Monster Hunter game. I didn't even like any of those games personally. So it's like, why own these upgraded models from Nintendo if they don't support them? And if they don't support the Switch Pro, I honestly don't think this is, like, as much as I want it, it might not be needed if the support is not going to be there and the support is going to be mainly on the base model consoles. So it makes you wonder, should Nintendo just call it quits with the Switch and just make a new Switch but have all the games backward compatible, but call it a whole new system? Or should they just try their best and actually support the Pro model? Because the Switch is still young, 4 years, it's still selling like crazy, so you don't want to kill that. You don't want to kill that growth. But you also gotta make sure that you keep up with these current consoles in some shape or form, and make sure that you are getting that third-party support. Because at the end of the day, most people do buy Nintendo consoles for Nintendo games, but one day we just want to buy one console, have third-party games on there, and have Nintendo games and just be happy, right? At least that's where I'm coming from. Alright, so that's pretty much what I have for this video. Just doing like a little quick look into these Nintendo Switch Pro rumors and my opinion on them. So super quick video, nothing too wild, nothing too crazy. Hope you enjoyed this one. It is kind of dark in my room right now, but hopefully this light is doing me wonders. It's been nice talking, and you might see me warning. This is a quick warning. You might see me wearing this hoodie for a few videos, because right now it's Saturday. And the house is empty, quiet, so I'm going to be shooting some videos back to back to have content ready to go on the channel this week, next week, the week after, and then continuing videos all day long, baby. Let's go. Thank you for watching, and hope you enjoyed this one. Peace out. It's been Boy His Tech. I don't know what I'm doing right now.